In law, negligence is a tort that is conduct which falls below the standards that are set by the law to protect others from unnecessary harm. Negligence requires two components: a duty of care, which means there must be a requirement by the law for a person to exercise due care in order to avoid harm to others, and breach of duty, which is when an individual fails to exercise due care. By case law, the courts usually determine the situations where duty exists. There are usually situations such as an individual driving a car, machinery, or any other situation where someone could be put into harm. Among a duty of care are duty to trespassers, duty to licensees, and duty to invitees. Duty to trespassers is not to trespass intentionally. Duty to licensees is to warn of dangers that licensees are unlikely to experience themselves. Duty to invitees is duty to exercise reasonable care to protect invitees of dangers that possessors should know but invitees more than likely won't discover. The reasonable person standard. Due care is the degree of care that a reasonable person would give in a similar situation. For example, children and those with physical disabilities must conform to the behavior of that of a reasonable person of like age and/or other similar characteristics. The reasonable person standard applies despite a person's disabilities, superior skills, or knowledge. Professionals must act and care in the same manner of other reasonable individuals in their profession and skill level. Emergencies. The reasonable person standard applies, but the emergency is considered as part of the standard. Negligence per se. Negligence per se means that if there is a violation of a statute that requires or prohibits certain behavior in order to prevent harm to others, then such a violation would be equivalent to negligence. The duty to act. A person is not required to aid another in peril unless that person caused the individual to be in peril. Factual cause. The defendant's conduct was the actual cause of a substantial contributing factor in causing the injury. Res ipsa loquitur. Even without evidence of the defendant's behavior, the duty of care and breach can be inferred simply by the nature of the incident. Now we'll go over the scope of liability. Unforeseeable consequences. The defendant is not liable if he or she could not have reasonably anticipated the outcome. Superseding cause. An intervening act that relieves the defendant of any liability. Now we'll go over defenses to negligence. Comparative negligence. This means that damages are divided proportionally among the parties relative to their degree of negligence. Contributory negligence. This is when the plaintiff failed to act in defense to protect him or herself from the injury that they incurred. Assumption of risk. This is when the plaintiff expressed consent to put themselves at risk of known danger. The workers' compensation tort bar. In most states, injury that was incurred at the workplace cannot be pursued in tort claims because they are covered by workers' compensation.